Okay, so now I've gone through and I have converted the rest of my controllers and directives over to components. I've then deleted the controllers and directives folder, and the last thing I've made sure I've done is in the index.ts file, I've made sure I've renamed everything to component instead of just directives and controllers. And I've also remembered to include both the things that used to be controllers and directives over into this index.ts file. So a few more things we need to do. One of them, the main one, is we need to go into our app roots. And you remember before we were using controllers. We now need to not use controllers, and we now need to use our new components instead. Now, in fact, that's actually quite a lot simpler than you'd think. So with UI router, all we'll need to do is we can stop using a template URL in a controller. We can just explicitly use a template. And where we were using a person list controller with a list HTML, we can now just type person -list and do that again, because we've now converted that controller into a component, and a component is like a directive in AngularJS in which we're creating a tag with its own custom tag name, and the tag name we chose for person list, if you look back here, was person list with the camel case, and that gets translated when we're talking about roots into person-list. So we can do the same for every other entry here. So we can change the search. It's actually I just called it search. So let's replace that there and there. And we're going to do the same for the edit. Oh, I spelled that wrong. In fact, I think the rest is all going to have person in it. So let me just replace that there, and I believe that's it. So the create is going to be person create. Edit is going to be person edit. And yep, I think that's it. And finally, I think, if I remember rightly, in our main.ts file here, instead of importing controllers, we can import components, because that will now pull in our components here. Okay, so now let's bring up the terminal, the console again. Oh, I seem to have closed it. But now let's just run npm run build, and let's see what build errors we have. So okay, we do have some build errors. That's fine. I actually knew we'd have some build errors. I wanted to show you that this is just going to be the process that you're going to have. You're just going to run npm run build, and it's going to have errors all the time, and you're going to have to go and dig through and figure out those errors. Let's just have a look. So going down, module not found error, can't resolve directives. Okay, so why is that? That's because we've actually removed the directives. So all the directives are now components. Let's try that again. So now let me clear the console, run build again. Okay, great, we're looking great. It looks like it's built everything fine. It now likes the use of components instead of the controllers and directives. It seems to be working. So let's now run our application. So I'm just gonna do the same as before. npm run server, and then I'm going to do npm start. Okay, so once everything's running, let's now check out in the browser and make sure everything's working. So it's already running, so let me refresh, and yep, everything looks pretty good. Deleting looks good. Editing looks good, and let me try and click create. Create looks, well, it looks pretty good. Excellent, so everything looks like it's now working with components. Let me check the console, no errors in the console, excellent. And if we go and have a look at here, you can in fact see we're using CC card, but if we go to the top, we're now using person list, which is now a component instead of previously we were using a controller and a template joined together via some UI router logic.